what are you guys doing today with John Bailey's case?
So the case was continued by the circuit judge at the request of the defendant. There's still some evidentiary pieces that have been sent for analysis that we're waiting on the results. So that was the reason for it. The state didn't object to that because obviously it would be needed for trial.
How many times has it been continued so far just with him?
I think this is the second time that it's been continued.
Is that usual or is that part of the course?
I think it's customary in a case of this magnitude. There's a lot of evidence. There's that had to be processed, that had to be sent to independent labs for review. So I think it's customary. I don't think it's anything out of the ordinary.
And that evidence is the forensic DNA from the human remains found a couple of months ago you guys are waiting on?
I don't want to get to the specifics on what it is, but it is evidence that's been submitted that has to be processed.
And are you guys trying to keep both of the defendants in this case together, or I know that hers was also continued to April, so do you try to do that, or does it really matter?
I mean, they're running parallel tracks because they were arrested and indicted within the same time, but they have not been joined for trial, nor would I expect them to be.
Any idea when we could see this? I know it's still early, everything keeps getting continued, but eventually go to trial. Any idea?
Yeah, I mean, as soon as all the evidence is back and we're able to go to trial, the state will be seeking to try the case. I mean, my office, we push cases to trial because we want to resolve them for the victims and for their families, and certainly that's the case here. But we have to have all of the evidence before we can sufficiently prove the case.
Have you guys found out whether or not those human remains found are that of Kahleb Collins?
Yeah, I don't really want to comment again on any specific evidence that's been submitted. Just that there has been numerous pieces of evidence submitted, and there is analysis being conducted on that, and we don't yet have the results of it.
Do you anticipate Bailey having a docket hearing before Thanksgiving or before Christmas of this year?
I do not. I would expect that the case would be continued until the spring unless something was specially set. At this time, I don't think anything's postured to be set before that time period.
Those of us who have been in the media for a long time, we understand how these things operate. But what do you say to the people in the public? They want justice. They want some kind of resolution either way, and they're getting a little fed up.
No, I understand.
What do you tell them?
Well, I mean, I would first tell them, this is the court system moves very slowly, and it's important that all of the evidence is back so that the state can sufficiently prove the case to seek justice for these children.
Because John Bailey is pleading not guilty based off mental disease or defect, does that mean at some point this definitively will go to trial, or can anything happen here in the legal term that would prevent a trial from having to happen?
Well, I mean, he was pled guilty at arraignment, not guilty and not guilty by reasonable disease or defect, which would allow them to file for a mentally valid at some point. Now, I haven't seen any pleadings to that effect, but that is open. But with that being said, it would be customary unless some intervening fact or scenario took place that would have been filed on the front end. So it's still in play, but I would think that it would be out of the ordinary for it to be filed at this point.
So you guys want to take this to trial? You aren't trying to come to an agreement, or will that still?
Yeah, I mean, there have been no offers made in that case, in either of these cases, and I would expect that they would be tried. But we really haven't gotten that far because, again, I need the evidence before we sit down and have those talks.
My last question for you, Andy, with Pam Bailey and or John Bailey, does the state have any intent to seek the death penalty in either of these cases? I mean, what is, the greatest punishment in these cases? Yeah, at this point, the death penalty is not in play because it's not a capital murder. So life in the Department of Corrections is the maximum penalty. And unless something changes, that would be the sentencing parameters we'd be working with.
But Kahleb hasn't been found yet, the body.
I do not have anything before me at this point that suggests Kahleb has been found. Now, again, I'm not going to get into what the evidence has been that has been submitted, but we remain hopeful that we will be able to identify him at some point.
That's all.
Thank you so
Good.
much, Andy.
Thank you so much.